welcome everybody to the second session from me on the Screw the Commute Summit. This is on email marketing. It's a continuation of the first session I did yesterday on the three-prong attack. This is part of prong two. That's why I didn't go into prong two in depth yesterday, because I knew I was going to hit email marketing really hard today. So you want to make sure you get a sharp pencil and plenty of notes, because I pulled out the gems. This is a 6-week course of mine, mastermind course, that I boiled down into about an hour for you. So I picked out the super gems that you really need to know to have success with email. If you're interested in the course, just get in touch with me later and you can take the 6-week course. It's very, very powerful. Okay, I'm going to work from notes again because I just don't want to miss anything. I don't know how many pages I got here, 8 pages. I'll boil this down to is just notes for me, but a lot of good stuff here. Now, and for your information, I've sent out over 1 billion emails, 1 billion with a B, all right, in the 29 years I've been working online. So I might have some things here that you might want to pay attention to. Now, you may have heard the term, the gold is in the list. This is so true. This is so true. The only people that dispute this are the people that sell social media training, right? Because everybody at my level and above makes the biggest money from email. There's no question about this. The email gives you control where you can send to people whenever you want. And you have autoresponders, which we're going to get into. So the gold is in the list. So if you really want to be successful online, in the online portion of your business, you must get a handle on email. Okay. So the first thing I want to tell you is the difference between a broadcast and an autoresponder. A lot of people just, they don't think about this, and it gets them mixed up a little bit. A broadcast is where you take your email addresses, whoever you want to out of your list, and you send a message anytime you feel like it, day or night, doesn't make any difference. You're in charge. That's a broadcast. An autoresponder is always, with a capital L, okay, always, triggered by somebody else. The two main ways that it's triggered are somebody opts in to get a freebie from you. I call it an ethical bribe, something like that. Or they purchase something. Those are the two main ways. And so they are triggering this thing that you have, these emails that you have pre-written. So when somebody does something, boom, it triggers and sends out that email. Okay. Now, when I started out, you could only do one email. Boom. All right. But long since, one of the most powerful things ever invented for digital marketing and internet marketing is the sequential autoresponder. This means not only when somebody triggers the autoresponder does the message go out, you can have pre-programmed messages like forever going out in a sequence to that same person. So that's called a sequential autoresponder. And in my system, you can change the distance between the messages. So maybe when they first trigger it, they get a message every day, but then they don't get another message for a week, or then 2 weeks. And then maybe I have them going out to 6 months, just to keep in touch with people. So that's the difference between a broadcast and an autoresponder, and the current method is sequential autoresponders. All right. Now, a lot of people wonder about the difference between HTML and plain text email. Now, I railed totally against HTML email for probably 20 years. The reason, the HTML email means that it can be fancy. You can have different fonts. You can have different colors in your email. You can put pictures and things like that. Well, the problem with that is my first mentor, Corey Rudel, who was kind of the 30-year-old grandfather of internet marketing, did a test that said that approximately 60% of HTML emails don't get to the recipient, looking like when you send it. You know, when you kill yourself to make it all pretty and then send it out, well, this is going through the email system, and everybody has different email receivers or clients, they call it. And so the things get screwed up and look worse, you know, terrible, but you don't know it. And that's the worst thing, is to not know when you look stupid. Right? It's bad enough looking stupid, but when you don't know you look stupid, that's even worse. so so I railed against this for years and years and years. However, in the past couple of years, I have said, you know what? Email clients are much more standardized and can read stuff. However, I only take advantage of some of the HTML attributes, and I still don't put pictures in because they can just screw things up terribly. And if you're not a professional emailer, you know, working for a big company with 40 geeks there, you know, tweaking things, no, you're risking things to try to look cool, when in effect you'll look stupid probably 60% of the time, you know. So I don't think that's a good deal. Now, there are some good things to HTML email. One thing is you can check the open rates. You can see how many people actually opened your email. You couldn't do that in plain text emails. And now they are more difficult to create, but not much if you stick to just text and formatting text. See, plain text emails, you couldn't format at all. It was just that little crappy typewriter font. But now you can make the size, you can make the color, you can change the font. And so that makes a much more pleasing to look at email. So I'm okay with that. So now HTML email is okay, but don't kill yourself making it look all gorgeous and putting graphics and pictures in it, because you're not a professional emailer. And don't try to emulate if you get an email from Macy's with all the latest fashions in it. That ain't you, okay? You're going to look stupid. So just trust me on that. After a billion emails, I know I look stupid all the time. All right. So next thing is you must have a professional email system. You cannot be sending things through your Outlook. Maybe you could send 15 or 20 emails to a group of people that's, you know, in your local golf club or something. I don't know. But that's just crazy to think that you can make money by using this little home grade stuff. And worse than that is you will probably get shut down, because your home grade email, or what you get through your website, is not designed for bulk email in the thousands or tens of thousands, or in my case, the hundreds of thousands. Okay. So you're going to get shut down. And some people say, well, I could just put it in the CC line. That's the biggest. Oh, if you really want to look stupid and get cussed out by all your friends and colleagues, go ahead and do that. Because what happens is that exposes everybody's email address to everybody else on the list. And then the worst thing is somebody hits reply, they hit reply all, and everybody starts getting emails from all over the place, and they just think you're a moron. All right. So you got to have a professional email system. Well, and then the next thing I hear was, well, I could use the BCC line. Well, still, I mean, I remember experimenting one time with my Outlook, and I put, I think, 50 people in the BCC. I immediately got my email shut down from my host, and I had to beg and kiss butt to get it back. All right. So this is just stupid. You think you want to make money? Do it right with the proper tools. And I'm the first one that'll preach free stuff. Okay. If it's quality. But this is not the place. You know, you get quality email broadcast and autoresponder system. The number one thing, you know, like I said, I picked out some of the real gems there that's extremely important for you folks. So the number one thing that keeps your email from getting deleted instantly when someone receives it in their inbox is that they recognize you. So you should be extremely consistent, or I don't know if you need extremely on it. You need to be consistent on who it's from. Now, that who it's from could be different depending on the segment of your list. So I sell a lot of different things. So if I'm sending to protection dog people, might have a different from than fatso tennis people or internet marketing or public speaking people. See? So be consistent in who it's from, and your email system should be able to allow you for any particular broadcast or autoresponder to say who it's from, customize it. If you're stuck with one thing, then you've got a cheap or free email system that's going to hurt you. And I'll just go to the sidebar here on free email systems. They say, oh, well, why don't I just go get this free thing here? I don't even want to name their names. Well, the reason is every spammer on earth that's got a union card, okay, is going to go and exploit free systems. And what happens is they spam people like crazy and get kicked off. They don't care. They're going to go somewhere else and spam everybody. But anybody that's on the system, all these servers around the world are going to see spam email coming from that system, and they're going to start deleting it and filtering it instantly. So you're sitting there thinking, oh, I got this free email. I just sent out 1,000 emails. No, you didn't. Well, you might have sent them out, but they didn't go anywhere because they got filtered everywhere, because all these receivers said, that's a spam place. We're not going to receive emails from them. So don't get sucked into this stupid broadcast email that's free. It's just stupid. All right. Okay. Now, next thing is the number one thing that gets your email opened. That's your subject line. You should keep your subject line 50 characters or less, including spaces. And the most important stuff in most of the world is going to be pushed to the left of the subject line, unless you're in an Arab country or something that reads backwards from us. So because the people, what they call truncate, if you look at your own email system and count up the characters that are allotted for you in your email system when the subject line comes in an email, count them up, including the spaces. I only allot 36. All right. And I'm telling you, just less than 50. So most people, up to 50 is fine, but I put the least important stuff to the right in case you only have 30 characters. I still want you to be able to see, hey, this is important email, open it up. So 50 characters or less, including spaces, most important stuff to the left. That's the number one thing that gets you open. And how important is this, folks? Well, if they don't open the email, nothing you do past that matters. It doesn't have the greatest sales letter, the greatest offer. It doesn't make any difference. They never saw it because you didn't get them to open it with the subject line. All right. Now, the next thing people ask all the time is, how often should you send out emails? Well, I can't tell you the answer to that. I will tell you how to test it, just like I tell my mentees, is you start sending out email. And I will tell you, most people are very uncomfortable with this because they don't want to be thought as a spam or, and some one colleague that's an idiot that's broke is going to complain. No, you can't run your whole business like that. So what you do is you must send out more email than you're comfortable with. And here's the rule of thumb. The more email you send out, the more money you will make, up to a point. And that's the point that you have to find. Because if you send too little, like people say, well, I'm going to send a newsletter out once a month. All right, you got 12 chances in a whole year to get somebody to do something. That's stupid. I mean, you might as well not do it. Go get a job at Burger King. You'll make more money consistently. All right, 12 emails in a year. It's just stupid. Okay. And you'll hear me say a lot of stuff, folks, because I'm kind of blunt. I try to be nice to people, and I'm not picking anybody out here. But if you're doing this kind of stuff, it's stupid. You might not be a stupid person. You're just unknowing. This is crazy. So, and then somebody says once a week. Well, that's way better than once a month. It gives you 52 chances. All right. But here's the deal. You don't know how many emails your particular market will happily accept. And of course, the better quality of the email that helps people, the more likely they're going to be to want to see your emails coming in, see? So what you have to do is you have to send out more than you're comfortable with, and you carefully watch your unsubscribe and complaint rate. And a couple complaints doesn't mean crap. I mean, just because, and I had people, remember, we're sending out 1 billion emails. You got a lot of people I've dealt with over the years, millions. Okay. There's a lot of idiots out there. They sign up for something, they forgot about it, and then they complain that you're a spammer. No, you just delete them. And nowadays they can, well, here's the thing, why I call them idiots. They can delete themselves easily, but they don't. All right. They bitch at you about it. And even some of them signed up under one email address that forwards to another address. And so they say, you get me off the list, unsubscribe. Well, I try to unsubscribe, but that original email is not on the list. It's some forwarding thing that they signed up under. And so I can't find them on the list. So they keep getting, so you're going to get into stupid stuff like that. But I've got to tell you, it's minuscule. It's minuscule compared to the money and the lifestyle you can have by doing this correctly. So you got to send out more, and you watch your unsubscribe and complaint rates, and you got to have a little bit of thick skin because, like I said, there's idiots out there that are going to complain, and you're giving them free information and helping them and doing your best to do a great job, and they're idiots. They're idiots, or they had a rotten childhood, or who knows what, but you can't let them run your business. All right. So you have to test. Now, this is a really big deal here. This one, triple underline this one in blood or lipstick or whatever you do. I don't care. All right. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say you send out a promotion and you sell 100 of whatever you were promoting. Great. Beautiful. Right? If you send that exact same promotion to the exact same list of people, a week later, you'll sell another 50. Right? So which would you rather do, 100 or 150? Now, hear me out on this. If you sent that exact same promotion, didn't change a word in it, a week later again, you'll sell another 25. Okay? So which would you rather do, sell 175 or 100? So and the reason is, I mean, if you are arrogant enough to think everybody is sitting there waiting for your email and they have no life and can't wait to pull their wallet out and give you money, you are crazy. All right. So they could have been on vacation. They could have been busy. They could have been sick. They could have been busy at work. I mean, who knows what it is? It doesn't make any difference. It's a numbers game. So if you send out a week later and then a week later again, and then here's the other thing, wait a couple months and send out the other same thing over again, and you'll get more orders. I don't know how many. These aren't exact numbers. This is just a concept that instead of trying to make new stuff all the time, you maximize the stuff you got. Okay. So send stuff out over and over again. Okay. Now, the next thing is about list segmentation. You need to only send emails to people when you know that they have an interest in your topic. For instance, I have all these side things, Protection Dogs Elite. They have no idea of what I do in the internet marketing world, in the public speaking world, the self-defense world. I mean, that's closer to the protection dogs, but that's still, they came because they're interested in protection dogs, all right, family protection dogs. So if I start sending them stuff about internet marketing and everything, yeah, maybe a tiny percentage would say, oh, that's interesting. But the bulk of them would unsubscribe or cuss me out because it didn't apply to them. That's not what they signed up for. They wanted information on protection dogs. See, so you must segment your list, and you'll get less complaints, you'll get less unsubscribes, and you will sell way more, because when that person gets that email, you know that they're interested in it. And how do you know? Well, it's how you got them on the list in the first place. If they signed up on Protection Dogs Elite for that particular list, then that's segmented. See, I have a big database of people, but it's divvied up into protection dogs and fatso tennis. And it used to be golf. I had a big golf faction, and internet marketing, public speaking. All these are in this giant database. And then you pick who you're going to email to. And your, like I said, your open rates will be way higher. Your unsubscribes will be way lower, and you'll make way more money. Okay. So that's list segmentation. Now, I used to, until now, I'm always learning. And I'm the schoolhouse, an old coal miner friend told me the schoolhouse door is always open. All right. And that's the way I live my life. I'm learning all the time. So I interviewed a guy from AWeber, which is a big autoresponder company, well respected. It's all they do is autoresponders. So it's not a shopping cart system combined. But it's something, in all these years, I have a lot of different systems for different purposes. So I was talking to the guy, and that's all he does day and night for all the last 20 years. And so I had been teaching for many years, and which was perfectly true, is spam avoidance, spam triggers. In other words, the words that you put in your email can trigger spam filters at servers, and then they cut your email out. Like, we didn't use the word free. I never used the word money. I didn't even use the word unsubscribe, because a lot of spammers try to use that word, and when you click on the unsubscribe, they know it's a good email address now, and they sell it to their spammer buddies for more money. All right. So there's a lot of spam triggers out there. And this guy told me, Tom, no longer is that the case. It's your email reputation. So you're not getting complaints from people. So the words don't matter as much. So I'm not going to go into spam triggers like I used to. However, you do have legal things to comply with. And some is the CAN Spam USA. You got the CASL in Canada, and you got the something GDPR in Europe. Mostly all I worry about is the CAN Spam Act. I don't really worry about it, because if you're the things that they don't want you to do, if you're legit, you wouldn't be doing them anyway. So I'm going to go over some of them with you. The truth, it has to have a truthful subject line. You must identify yourself in the ad, or if it's an ad. You have to have an unsubscribe link automatically. You have to have a street address. You have to have a warning if there's adult content. And if you have somebody else emailing for you, you're still legally liable for what they say. So you better be careful not to farm this out to somebody that's clueless and has no liability if they mess up. See? So you do have legal things to deal with. All right. Now let's talk about selling with autoresponders and broadcasts. Now, there's nothing new about selling. I got plenty of training on that stuff, but on broadcast emails, you can have what's called a solo ad. So the whole email is about a promotion that you're doing, and selling can be selling in multi-steps. So I could sell you into a webinar, which then sells you into a product. Or I could just sell a direct product from the email. So that's in a broadcast fashion. And again, you wouldn't promote a tennis product to my public speaking people. You got a little bit of common sense here. But what I especially like is autoresponder selling, because it happens automatically when I'm doing something else. In fact, when we talk about autoresponders, I have over 500 sequences of autoresponders going out all day, every day, 24/7, while I'm sitting here talking to you. See, so, and again, they're triggered by other people. So prospects and customers are getting taken care of while I'm doing something else. This is part of automation. And by the way, you should grab a copy of my screwthecommute.com/automate free, which is my automation book, which I sell for $27, but it's yours free for being on the summit here. Screwthecommute.com/automate free. Write that down. So the reason I love autoresponder selling is because, let's say somebody gets a free e-course from me, and here's a sidebar again. E-courses are great to get people to give you their best email address. See, if you have just a one-time download freebie, I do it myself. I have like throwaway email addresses that I'm never going to check again. I just want to get your freebie and see if it's any good. So e-courses, you tell the person, hey, put your best email address in or you'll miss parts of the e-course. And now you get a better quality email address. That's another gem there, folks, to write down. Um, so anyway, let's say they opt in for this e-course of mine and they get the first training thing. In the bottom, it might say, hey, and remember, if they sign up for something free, you better give them the free thing or they won't trust you or they'll unsubscribe and bitch you out. All right. So maybe 90% of the email is what I promised them free. And then at 10% or even less, I might say, hey, if you really like this topic, click here to get my so-and-so. And then it goes to a sales letter that then they buy stuff. And each part of the e-course has some little thing like that, that it's not, obnoxious, but you've got a person that's interested in your topic, give them a chance to give you money. If you don't wait till the last part of the e-course. I've had students in the early days do that because you don't know if they're ever going to get to the last part of the e-course. So every part of the e-course should have something, a link to some other thing that they can buy or do. All right. So that's autoresponder selling. And if they bought a product, for instance, if you buy my Wake 'em Up speaking system, so you start getting a series of emails, and this is another important point. I want people to get used to getting emails from me that help them. So they buy this expensive, compared to a little ebook, the whole system is more expensive. So I don't want them to think I'm nickel, just hit them every second for more money. So the first couple emails is, hey, we shipped out your thing, and hey, how's it going? Here's some extra tips. And I do that for several days. And then a week later, I check in with them. Hey, how you doing with your speaking system? And don't forget to book your consultations and blah, blah, blah. Then a couple of weeks later, after they already love me and they see it's high quality and it's going to help their speaking career, I might say, hey, to really make a lot of money in speaking, the more better known you are, the higher your fees can be. And the way to do that is to get free publicity. And I wrote a book with Joan Stewart called How to Be a Kick Butt Publicity Hound. It's $97, but since you bought the speaker system, here's a coupon code and it'll be half price. You only pay $47.50 and it can really jack your fees up. So that all happened automatically long after I forgot when they bought the thing. See, so those are the kinds of powerful tools that are simple if somebody just taught you how to use them and you got them and they sell for you automatically. So that's selling with autoresponders. Okay, let's see. I talked about e-courses. All right, let's talk about a term you've probably heard called squeeze pages. Well, a squeeze page is a single page that's totally designed to get somebody to give you their email address. I just gave you one earlier, screwthecommute.com/automate free. That is a squeeze page. There's no other purpose on earth of that page other than to get you to put your email address in, which I already have because you're on here, but just give you an example. And you get a freebie for it. So you're never going to get a high ranking in Google for a squeeze page. They fell out of favor 10 years ago because Google wants people to have a really good experience if they found your site high in the rankings. Google is saying this must be a good site. And just grabbing email addresses to give a freebie is not considered a good site. So you're never going to get a high ranking in for a squeeze page. But see, I have lots of ways to send people to squeeze pages. My podcast is a perfect example. We've had over 700 episodes. And I tell people in not all of them, but almost all of them, hey, get my automation thing. It saved me 8 million keystrokes. And blah, so that's how I build my email list from my podcast. But I don't get any traffic at all from Google free to that squeeze page. It's all generated from me being on other podcasts and my podcast and so forth. So So when this started happening about 10 years ago, people thought, well, what do we do about this? So a term called the reverse squeeze page came out. And what a reverse squeeze page is, it's a page that has content on it that helps the people at the top of the page. And then the sign up part is near the bottom of the page. After you've proven that there's content and value to the page, now Google likes you better, so you can get free traffic off of it. Now, if it's the only page on the whole website, no, that's the whole website's not substantial. But if it's a page on a substantial website, it can get its own traffic if it's a reverse squeeze page and has content at the top. Now, most of the time, I want you to have the sign up for list building near the top of the page. Not in this case. So if you don't have a way to drive traffic to it now, but you always do, you could use YouTube, you could go on podcasts and be a guest and things. So there's always ways to drive traffic. But if you want some free traffic from Google, you do a reverse squeeze page. All right. All right. Now, coupon codes. Now, this is kind of a combo with the shopping cart system and email, is that people love coupons. They love a sale. This will really stimulate, money for you if you have sales. And I have all kinds of training on that stuff. But anyway, a coupon can be customized to the particular group. And that really stimulates sales, and it's put in the email. So you promote a product, you say, this is the regular price, but use this coupon code to get the 50% discount or something. Let's say if you're selling something to the mothers of Girl Scouts. Well, you say, hey, anybody in the Girl Scouts, use Girl Scouts 50 as your coupon code and get a 50% discount. This will stimulate sales like crazy. Okay. And if you're doing digital products, you're still making a lot of good money, even with a 50% discount. But you can change the amounts of the discount, the percentage. You can make free shipping if you have a physical product. So this is all embedded into an email, the coupon codes. All right. Now, the next thing people ask me about is the best days of the week, the best times of day, how many per week, and all these kind of things. All right. First of all, you have to test, just like I talked about before. You have to test for your market with your people, with your promotions. But in general, I try to do emails Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And then I do other ones on Sundays, depending on what's going on. I avoid Fridays and Saturdays. Now, this doesn't mean I never do Fridays and Saturdays. And it doesn't mean I never do Mondays. It just means in general, for the biggest response, you have to pay attention to your market. So if people are at work, Mondays, they're just slammed full of spam and they're back trying to get back in the swing of things. So it's not the best time. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, that's when I have my biggest response. Fridays, everybody's looking for the weekend. Saturdays, they're busy doing stuff. Now, Sundays, I've had enormous success on Sundays. In fact, I do like a lot of webinars, or I did on Sunday nights, and I only promote them once because people know what they're doing Sunday. And so I promoted Sunday morning, like right when a little after church. And then I get the highest show up rates for my webinars. And I only had to send out one email because if I did it a week ahead of time, there's a webinar coming out. Well, people might sign up for it, but then they wouldn't show because they didn't really know what they're doing, a week from now or 3 days or 4 days from now. Occasionally, I'll do something in advance if it's a really big deal or I'm an affiliate or something, but I want those show up rates. So best days of the week. Now, here's an example. Let's say you were into sports. Well, you might do Friday and Saturday, to take care of Friday would take care of the Saturday college games, and Saturday would take care of the Sunday pro games. I mean, if you're into that. See, so you got to pay attention to your market and test. Now, the best times of day, well, you got time zones, and this is an international thing. So you have to kind of watch and see where most of your market is. And Also, there's all kinds of analytics you can see when you see, okay, how many people opened it and what time of day they did and so forth. So again, it's a testing process. I can't tell you. And how many per week is just like I said earlier, is I don't know. But you probably aren't doing as many as you could, and you'll make more money if you send more. Okay. Now, preparation for list building. A lot of people just say list building, but I say preparation for list building. You got to prepare before you go and drive traffic to try to keep people on your email list. If you're not prepared, you're wasting all that money because you can easily drive traffic or buy traffic or put ads in, but when they get to where you send them, if they can't do easily opt in, then you're wasting your money. See, so it's backwards. So you prepare first, get your infrastructure built, and then you drive traffic to it. All right. So first thing is you got to have a sign up form, which all reputable email places will um, provide you with that. You have to create it yourself in their system. You can customize it to look however you want. Um, and the thing is, on your sign up form, some people get just crazy. They say, okay, I want your first name, last name, city, state, zip code, firstborn's names. Just so the rule of thumb is the less you ask for, the more people that'll sign up. Now, there are times when you want more to disqualify people. Like if I had a team of people selling car insurance quotes, I wouldn't want, thousands of people just signing up for a freebie because I need to call them and follow up with them to try to sell the insurance. So some people give you a much more to fill out purposely to make sure you're qualified for them to take the time to follow up with you. Now, for the stuff that I do and sell, bring it on. Come on, get on my list. Right? As long as you're not an idiot calling me a spammer, I don't care. Just, you're just another person on the list. So the least, all I usually ask for is first name and email address. That's it. Uh, let's see. Let's see. Now, where you put the sign up forms? Well, you try to put them just about everywhere. So the top of the page gets more people to sign up. They can be in pop-up boxes. And I hear some of you are in my earphones already saying through the Zoom thing here, oh, I hate pop-up boxes. I never put a pop-up box in. Okay, I'll take your subscribers because you messed up. So let me give you an example. I had a pop-up box on Antion.com, and it was signing up about 174, 175 people a week for my Great Speaking Easy. As soon as I put that wasn't the pop-up box. That was just the sign-up form static at the top of the page. As soon as I put the pop-up box, it went to 400 people a week. All right, so you tell me. Just because you don't like pop-up boxes doesn't mean they don't work. All right, and now you want an unblockable pop-up box by today's standards, so that's a whole other thing on how to do that. But pop-up boxes were blocked. Browsers would block them, and so you want to get an unblockable. Okay, and also they have exit intent pop-up boxes too. So that exit intent means you're doing something that shows that you're leaving. And so people are taking a stab at you on the way out the door. So if you move your mouse up towards the thing to close the browser to exit out of the site, boom, that triggers the pop-up box. Right? So that's called exit intent. Or even if you're just going from taking your mouse bottom to top, it fires the pop-up. There's a thing called a pop under, which waits a certain amount of time until you get a lot of information on the page, so you kind of like the page, and then it pops up. So all those are available to you. Now, we have also a place at the bottom. You can put a bottom as part of your call to action after, let's say, a blog posting. Hey, if you really like this this kind of information, sign up for our thing at the bottom, and we promise not to spam you to death, and you'll get all these great things. So you can have it at the bottom, and it's not unheard of to put it right in the middle of like a blog posting or an article. After you suck them in with good quality information, they say, oh, well, this is pretty good stuff. I'd like to get more of this. And then they'll opt in right there. Um, okay. Now, let's see. We need to talk about single or double opt-in. One sometimes called confirmed opt-in. Single opt-in means that somebody puts their name and their email in your form and hits the submit button, and boom, they are on your list. Double opt-in means they put their name and their email and hit submit, and then your system sends them an email and says, hey, do you really want to be on this list? If yes, confirm by clicking a link. And when they click the link, now they're on the list. All right, so what's the pros and cons of these? Well, let's take the single opt-in. The single opt-in pro is that you get more people on your list because they don't have to wait around for the confirmation email, or they might forget the confirmation email and get busy and never end up clicking on it. And so that's eliminated. They're on your list right now. The downside of it is that some other persons, a malicious person, could put somebody's name on the list that they hate. And so they put Joe and Joe at joeschmo.com into your list. Then you start sending emails to Joe at joeschmo.com. And Joe said, I didn't sign up for this crap. You're a spammer. And the person that hates Joe and me, or both of us, is sitting back laughing. Say, so that's the potential downside. So I keep single opt-in going unless some of that starts happening. And then I turn it off until they get sick of trying to screw with me. And sometimes it's a robot, it's a bot, it's some 8-year-old kid doing it. Until the bot gets tired of hitting my site because it can't get through, and then I turn it back off. All right, so that's a possibility of how to handle single opt-in. Now, with double opt-in, you clearly get a higher quality list because people had to take the time to fill out the first part of it and then wait to get the email confirmation and click on it. So that's a more qualified person. You get less people on your list, but it's generally higher quality. So you get to make the choice on which way you want to go there. If you got a bunch of idiots, potential idiots, you probably want to do double opt-in. Okay. Some other things you can do is you can put the term "we hate spam" as much as you do. You can put a little link to your privacy policy. A lot of times people don't even bother clicking on it, but it makes them more comfortable that you even have one and are admitting it. So they feel more comfortable in giving you their email address. Okay, so I talked about squeeze pages. I just suggest in my big class that you just Google the term squeeze page and go to Google Images, and you'll see just hundreds and hundreds of different examples of squeeze pages. So there you go. All right. So anyway, that first little part was starting to prepare to receive people in a form on your website. All right. Now, you almost have to pay people, all right, to give them something free nowadays, all right? And when I first started, people would sign up for anything, no problem. All right, I just got to shut this. Even the phone on vibrate makes noise. So they'd sign up for anything. But now, I see people all the time when I'm critiquing websites. I've critiqued over 10,000 websites, and I see their opt-in, and it just says, sign up for our newsletter. And it's like, well, why? There's no benefits to it. In fact, in the pop-up box that I have going, there's like, I think we count them up, 15 benefits in the little pop-up box to get people to sign up. All right. So you really need to show them what they're going to get, promise you're not going to spam them to death, tell them, give them expectations. Uh, but you should have some incentives for them to do it. I mean, that's the big thing that kicks them over. They call it a freebie or a lead magnet. Some people call it an ethical bribe. All right. And again, I like e-courses because you can tend to get a better email address out of them. But let me give you some things here. I made some notes here. Um, you can do special reports. You can do white papers. You can do videos, audios, ebooks. Like I said, the one I got is how to automate your business. Screwthecommute.com/automate free. That brings in people all the time from my podcast interviews and things like this. This summit will bring in loads of people onto the list and they'll get great value and they'll start thinking, hey, Tom's a good guy. Look at this great value I just got that's going to save me hundreds of hours into the future and millions of keystrokes. So checklist, for instance, could be a checklist of what to take on your next camping trip. You know, if it was a camping website, see something valuable to them. Templates, fill in the blank stuff. I know Jeff Herring, one of the other people on the summit here, was one of my students, and one of his first products was his article writing templates. You just fill in the blank basically with your information. And I told you about e-courses. I have the top 10 ways to make money speaking. I got the top 10 ways to be great on stage. I had the internet marketing one. I forget the titles to that one. But anyway, so that's preparing your incentives. Again, if you have a beautiful sign-up form, but there's no incentive for people to sign up, you shouldn't be driving traffic yet. So you've got the form built, and now you have some incentive for people to actually fill out the form. This is preparing. Okay, so then you can go into traffic building or traffic driving, which is not what this session's about. But you know, if you, I'm always happy if you jump in my mentor program to help you with that, because we love traffic. Okay, so the next thing is list building techniques. Now I have a complete ebook called The Ultimate Guide to List Building that's got I don't know how many different ways, but I'm going to give you some a couple of them here. So pay-per-click is one way to drive traffic. So this means that you put an ad somewhere, Google, or there's all kinds of places that do ads now, Twitter and LinkedIn, every place does ads. But it's pay-per-click. So if somebody clicks on it, they come over to your site. Now that doesn't mean that they opted in. That's why you got to do a good job of the form and the incentives, because you're paying for that person to come over and look at them. And if they don't opt in, well, then you paid for nothing. Say. So, and not all of them are going to opt in. So the better job you can do on the form and the incentives, the more people out of the people you send will opt in. All right. And the reverse squeeze page is almost a necessity for this, for some of the big places like Google. They really look poorly on just sending people to a squeeze page from an ad, because they want people really liking their ad platform and be willing to click on ads so that they get a good user experience. You can't just buy an ad and send them anywhere. They look at the landing page. So this is where you'd want a reverse squeeze page to put some content at the top that's really good quality, and then the sign up form below. That's perfectly acceptable. But if you just try to drive them to a straight squeeze page from Google, no, it probably won't even get accepted. Okay, now you can pay for solo email ads to related lists. So you search out people that have a similar or related topic to yours, and you offer, or they might already have a fee schedule for a solo ad. A solo means that it's all about you. It's not like part of a big newsletter. So that's a solo ad. Now you got to be careful with this. You got to be triply careful that they're not a spammer, and how they got their subscribers, because years and years ago I got screwed on this and had to beg my way back to get my website reinstated. So what happens is if somebody really knows how to complain, even though you were paying for an ad in their email, all the people that that were in that advertisement email that was sent out, got their website shut down because this person was a spammer. And so the person complained to all the places that were listed in the email and got them every shut down. So I had to really beg, borrow, and steal to get reinstated. That was years and years ago. So I don't let that happen anymore. But it's possible that you can, really, uh, get put on the map by buying an ad in a solo email. Okay. And you can pay for website ads. So more than, if it's a related website, it doesn't have to be Google or anybody. You could say, okay, how much to put my graphic banner for my email list on your website? And people will have a price for it, or they say, no, we don't do that. If you see other things on websites that you'd like to be on, then they probably have some method for you to get your ad up there. Okay. Social media, of course. Now, here's the thing. Whenever you do any kind of paid stuff, you want to be able to track it to see if it's making money. Because you could have an ad on this website and an ad on this website. And let's say this ad, you got 100 clicks. And on this ad, you got 20 clicks. Same time period, and both ads cost the same. And you'd say, you know what, this ad sucks. I'm going to throw it away. Well, that might be a mistake, because this ad that got 100 clicks maybe nobody signed up to your list or bought anything. Maybe this list only got 20 clicks, but 5 people signed up or 5 people bought stuff. So you would have thrown away the good ad and kept the bad ad. Now, you don't want that to happen. That's what split testing and ad tracking is all about. And there's a module. It takes me 5 minutes to teach you how to use it, but it could save you fortunes in ad spend, because you're going to keep the good ads and throw away the bad ones. Okay. So when you're using these special tracking links, a lot of places won't accept them. Like, you can't put a posting on Facebook with this humongous weird looking link, and they'll cancel the ad, or they won't even accept the ad. Or if it's just a posting, you could just do a posting to get people to sign up for your list. But if it has a weird looking link in it, Facebook will disavow it. So what do? Well, there is a plugin for WordPress called Pretty Links. PrettyLinks, Pretty Links. And what it does is it takes humongous, weird looking links and allows you to make one with your domain name and a simple, not weird looking link. So for instance, I might have screwthecommute.com/viral, which is for my viral marketing ebook. Well, the real link could be something like, some affiliate program.com/? And all kinds of weird characters. And you, number one, you can't say that on a podcast. So you can easily say, yeah, go to screwthecommute.com/viral. So you can use them all kinds of places: radio interviews, video, YouTube, all of these places. And you won't get banned, or your ads will get accepted because it looks normal. See? So you really need to get a handle on Pretty Links for a lot of things that you do, especially if you want to do affiliate marketing, because all the links are really weird looking. And tracking links are weird looking too. So you can use it for all kinds of stuff. It's very inexpensive. It's a plugin for WordPress. Okay. I'm going to clear my throat. Okay. Next thing you can do is ad swaps. So you can, go to someone with a reasonably same size list as yours and offer to promote them in your list if they promote you in their list. Now, you can't go to somebody with 100,000 subscribers and you have 3 and say, yeah, let's trade. No, you could trade 100 times and wouldn't get as much as they would get you. So don't make a fool of yourself. Go to people that are, equitable size. But even if they had 1,000 and you had 600, offer to do 2 for them in exchange for 1 for you. Something at least close. But don't go to somebody with 100,000 and say, yeah, we'll trade. offer to buy it and see what their prices are, which, you know, I think mine is 1,400 or something to do a solo ad for. Okay, next thing is guest blogging. That's still a viable thing. So you put a blog post on somebody else's site, and in exchange, you get a link back to your site, all right? And it could be to your opt-in form. There's sharing sites like slideshare.com where you can put content up there with links back. You can do joint ventures with other marketers. I told you about buying. Oh, another thing is ask your current subscribers to share your stuff on their social media. Just ask them. You could also do a contest on somebody that gets you the most subscribers. You know, we have to figure out how to track that, but definitely the people that already like you and get value are a great place to, a great group of people to promote you. Now, another really cool way is you could make product bonuses. What does that mean? Well, whenever somebody like me is selling something, I always add bonuses because in my copywriting training, which is copywriting901.com, bonuses always increase sales. But sometimes it's harder to come up with a bonus. You're busy and someone else comes to you and say, hey, and I'll do this. I'll definitely do this. I'll give you a bonus to give away, and you have it's customized. It's usually going to be digital. It's customized with your links in it. So the bonus is given away, excuse me, it's customized with my links in it. See, because I'm giving you a bonus in exchange when you sell the product and give the bonuses to your group of people, they see my bonus and my links to come back and opt into my stuff or buy my stuff. And if they buy my stuff, you might get an affiliate commission on it. So that's a whole other thing, but giving bonuses to other people to use in their promotions is the bottom line here. And it leads back to you. Okay. Let's see what we got next here. Oh, you can have contests. That's a great way to get lots and lots of email addresses, and contests can go viral. There's 3 ways you go viral: contests, quizzes, and content lockers. That's what my viral book is about, screwthecommute.com/viral. And contests, you say, well, if somebody joins a contest, they get a chance to win. Why would they share it to other people? Because that'll just ruin their chances to win. The mechanism is that if they sign up for your contest, they get 1 chance to win. If they refer it to somebody that signs up, they get 20 extra chances to win. So that's the mechanism that causes them to share it like crazy. And that other person that signed in or that came from them gets 1 chance to win. But if they refer it to somebody, they get 20 chances to win. So see how this can go, and everybody that signs up is signed up with email. See, so that's how contests can go massively viral for you and get you loads and loads of subscribers. Quizzes are the same thing. Other than quizzes, people usually want to share the results of the quiz. So that's the mechanism for that. And the next person that takes the quiz has to opt in. So that's the mechanism for quizzes. And then content lockers are when you get down, let's say you put a really great blog posting. I have one that's like the 15 mistakes people make on websites. And so I count down and then I get to the last one after I've sucked you in with all these great things that you didn't know. And then I say, here's the most important one, but to get it, you got to share this on Facebook go or subscribe to my YouTube channel or something. But that's how that gets you more email addresses. Okay. And there's loads more in my book, The Ultimate Guide to List Building. But anyways, just do those, and that's pretty darn good. Okay, so you have to evaluate your emails. So you're looking at open rates, click-through rates, and handling bounces. So remember, to get open, they not get deleted immediately. They should recognize you. And if you're using HTML, broadcast email without graphics. I mean, if you have graphics, you're still going to get open rates, but I'm just saying that's troublesome. So you check your open rates. And that after you do this for a while, you're going to start to see, hey, when I say this in my subject line, I get way more people to open it. One of the copywriting techniques is the Zygarnik principle. Bluma Zygarnik was a Russian psychologist, psychiatrist that came up with the principle of the human mind. She discovered that the human mind cannot stand unfulfilled curiosity. You're surrounded by this all the time. So, because, and one of the biggest open I ever had was I said it was, boy, did I get in trouble, ... And yeah, when you're on a list for a while, people kind of think they know you, and they're like, I wonder what Tom did now. And they had to open it. They just couldn't help it. Say, there's just, I have loads of stories on the power of the Zygarnik principle. So you'll start noticing the things that you say will get more people to open. But once they get inside, you can also use the Zygarnik principle to get them to click through. Any kind of good copywriting can get them to click to your webpage. See, the trend is shorter emails clicking to a web page. I'm going to clear my throat again, not bother you with it. Hold on. Yeah, so click into a web page, which is great for Google because it gives you more time on site. It gives you more visitors, which Google sees. See, so you want to watch and things. Oh, well, I said this in the beginning of my email, and more people click through. That's CTR, is click-through rate. Now, another thing you got to keep in mind is bounces. Bounces are where the email didn't get through, and you get a report about it. So you have hard bounces and soft bounces. A hard bounce means that email ain't getting through. Sorry. Either the email address is defunct, no longer exists, or the website email handler just doesn't exist anymore. Not going to get through. I'm sorry about the throat here, folks. Now, soft bounce means that it might get through, it just didn't, there was a glitch or something. Now you get a report and you see, oh, I had 42 times this person has had a soft bounce. You still get rid of them. Okay, it's no good. If it's a hard bounce, I usually look at the email address to see if somebody made .co instead of .com or something, or if I can fix it. But you're better off getting rid of your bounces because your rates, the more emails that you send out, the whole email community sees this basically. And if a lot of them are bouncing, you start looking like a spammer and you start giving yourself a bad email reputation. So it's better to get rid of those people and then keep getting new people that are better that the emails are actually getting through. All right, now I do have a quick list here. I'm going to read it quickly. You can always rewind. A checklist for subject lines. Remember, I said they should be 50 characters or less, including spaces. But here's, I'm going to read this quickly to you, and then you can rewind and write it down if you want. Okay, it should be short. Most important things to the left. Keywords, as long as the subject line is still great, it's good to put keywords in there. Use the Zygarnik principle for curiosity. You can allude to a story. That's kind of a Zygarnik, but boy, did I screw up. Or I hate sleeping on the couch. It makes people think, oh, I'm going to hear a story of what happened. Real urgency, like tonight, last chance for sign up for the webinar. Communicate value, flash sale, fleas and ticks gone today. If you had if you had a dog list, that kind of stuff. Refer to a current event. It must be timely. So if something is happening in the news, That's called newsjacking. You can jump on the bandwagon there. You can be funny. I look terrible in a dress. That would get a lot of opens. Um, Tell people who it's for. Now that can reduce your open rate, but it usually increases your click-through rate. So so want to improve your Instagram followers? Well, they have to be on Instagram to want to be interested in that one. Re-engage. Hey, did you forget to open this? Another one. Let's see. Oh, see, another reason that I don't want to have graphics in the HTML emails, this is a little sidebar here, is a lot of people have a preview window. Well, the preview window frequently doesn't have the graphics. So the beautiful email that you created is going to look even worse because the graphics are not going to be there. See, so that's another reason to avoid the HTML email. Okay, now if you want to do your click-through rates better, don't put important info in images. Again, we don't really want the images anyway. Make sure you have short, easily digestible paragraphs. Don't run off on at the mouth because I don't know, where's my cell phone? When I see something either in an ebook or somewhere and it fills up the whole screen, it's like, oh my God, that's too hard to read. All right, don't make it hard to read. You can use bullet points. You can use curiosity. You can include a bonus or incentive for them to click through. Let's see. Oh, the big thing I left out from the subject line, never use a deceptive subject line, like clickbait, because they will never trust you. They'll probably unsubscribe immediately. They just can't trust you. Make sure you have it's clear what they're going to get if they do click, and don't disappoint them when they get there. And remember, I talked about resending the same campaigns, and then clean your list for bounces. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about is angles. When you're sending out stuff, you really don't know the person that's receiving it, what's most important to them. So, for instance, there's one of my students, Greg Ware, is a financial expert, pretty big shot. And he has 2 books, Are You Compatible and Plan Your Retirement. So let's take the Are You Compatible book. This is for young couples that are thinking about getting married. And finances usually break up a lot of marriages. So one angle is he could focus on something, you didn't get married to argue, because a lot of argues happen on financial stuff. And then another angle he could send out is about the emotional cost of divorce and the financial cost of divorce. So those are 2 different angles. This is ahead of time. Have you thought about this? And have you thought about what could happen if you mess this up? All right. So those are 2 different angles. So make sure you find out which one is best for your market. And that's a thing called split testing, which is the same module for ad tracking. So you send 2 emails out. Oh boy, my throat. And the shopping cart will track people all the way through to see if they bought something. And it'll tell you which one is the better angle. See? So there's all kinds of things you can test. And doing this is how you get rich, because you don't want to be blowing money on stuff that's not working and throwing away stuff that would work. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so that's 6 weeks boiled down into whatever time. I don't know. But just want to give you an overall recap and plan of action, which is what the last part of my 6-week course on this is. I mean, literally, if you do this stuff, you'll know more about email than 99% of your colleagues, and you'll beat the pants off of them and make more money. So you got to worry about the legalities, how to avoid the spam filters, how to get people to whitelist your emails is another thing. And you can go to screwthecommute.com/whitelist, and you can see my instructions to tell people how to whitelist if they really want to get my emails through. So that's good. You need to learn how to list build. You need to how to sell with broadcasts, how to sell with autoresponders. Creating great emails is copywriting. When and how often to send is a testing process on your end. Simple funnels is another thing that don't spend a lot of money on these funnel builders. I'm telling you, folks, that's people. They brag about a few people that made money, and they didn't tell you about the 10,000 that didn't, or the 100,000 that didn't. E-courses, like I said, that you get better quality email addresses. You got to get opt-in forms, lead magnets or ethical bribes, the incentives. You got to get those all ready. That's your preparation. You got to learn to split test. You got to learn to track your open rates and click-through rates and sales per email, all that stuff. And you do need to learn how to handle insane amounts of email coming back at you from your broadcasts and stuff without pulling your hair out. Most people, ooh, I'm getting too many emails. Well, here's the thing, folks. If they had money in them, you wouldn't be crying about it like that. So that's what we teach you. And I have two, ebooks you might want to get a hold of, 50 emails that made money and the ultimate guide to list building. And of course, you get all this stuff included if you're in my mentor program, including copywriting901.com. So there we go. That's email. That's where the money is, folks. And I said I crammed a whole bunch of stuff in here, but it's a 6-week course because there's loads and loads of details on that. I think it's screwthecommute.com/email mastermind. We run them several times a year, but you can always get the recordings if you want to do it anytime. Okay, so that's the email marketing session. I think my next class that I'm going to do is podcasting masterclass, both from the perspective of having a podcast and the perspective of guesting a podcast. If you have both, it's really best. But guesting, you could start instantly without any kind of equipment other than good microphone. All right, there we go. See you in the next session.